Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are tri-continental this morning. We've got three continents, three different time zones, but one thing that we all have in common is a love for the amazing Arsenal and a brilliant panel. For those who haven't been to the channel before, it's a football thing, and this is the monthly Arsenal show. As you can see, I'm joined by a top-notch panel. Albert in here, we've got Dennis in here, we've got Melina in here. We might start with you, Melina. How are you going?
Hi, I'm good. Good so far, and glad we got the much-needed 3 points at the weekend. Man United drawing can't be any better. So thank you for having me on, Scott.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And just let the people know, obviously all the info's in the description, but let the people know where they can find some more of your stuff.
Yes, if you guys want to check out my Fantasy Premier League content as well as Arsenal tactical match reviews, my YouTube channel is called Miss Mel, and I believe you can find it in the description.
Down below, absolutely. And Mel does a madness over there. And her FPL stuff, I'm not going to lie, I've used some of your tips and tricks. But the things I haven't listened to have cost me this season, so I'm going to listen a bit more carefully. We have my friend Dan here. Dan, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Weekend's got a bit quick. I feel like I'm sort of rising into Monday a bit sharpish, but yeah, it's good to be on, long overdue, and looking forward to the chat.
And your stuff, do you want to give the sideline?
Yeah, so you can find me on Sideline Talk Podcast, which is my channel, and I do some stuff over on Rivalry Aside TV, which is Arsenal content only. So yeah, the links in description, as Mel said. Cheers for that, mate, for letting me sort of give a plug.
No, all good, all good. Look, half the Aussie contingent are most certainly asleep. So I know that once they check this out a little bit later on in the day, you'll have a few Aussies jumping over there, which is good. The next guest needs no introduction. He's been on here a couple of times. My man Albert, he's doing a madness at the moment. Albert, how are you, dude?
Not bad. Good to be back, brother. Good to be back. Yeah, here, there, and everywhere, as you might have seen. And that's going to be after the show actually as well. I've late call up on Lee Judge TV tonight, so at 9 o'clock. So I'll be on there.
There you go. Look at you. You're killing it up there. Guys, look, this morning, this afternoon, tonight, we're just going to look back, obviously, at the Arsenal-Newcastle result quickly. We'll give our thoughts on that. I want to talk about our thoughts on the team 13 games into the season. We're far enough in that we can probably start looking at what we've learned about this Arsenal team, our manager, our structures. I want to talk a little bit about the process, where your expectations are of this. There have been some absolutely insane reactions out there on social media. And look, we all come in with different opinions, and it's all linked to your expectations. What do you expect of this team? So I'd love to chat about that. And then look ahead to December, because this is a monthly recap. Albert, we might start with you. We had a nice result yesterday against Newcastle. 3 points is always a pleasure. What did you make of the game?
Well, at the original point, I actually had to watch the game on catch up because work commitments, unfortunately. So yeah, not even a radio thing, mate. Not with the kind of job I do. So you're on the go, man. But you know what? Result wise, just if I'm looking at that purely, that's about right. 2-0. I thought 2-0. Then I kind of went 2-1. Callum Wilson's playing, and I might get a goal. So. Yeah, Newcastle got problems, man. Boy, listen, Arsenal fan at the moment, but believe me, that club has got a huge amount of problems. But yeah, the scoreline was about right, Scott. Sometimes I kind of wonder what Arsenal fans are really expecting when Arsenal play. Really, you know, we can't fast forward to the end of the season and we should get top four. I mean, you made a good point about expectations, and mine weren't very high this season at all. Whether that be before the preseason or what happened in the transfer window, but I was prepared to sort. You know what? Last couple of years, bedded some guys in. Let's see how we get on. But in terms of the game yesterday, I think the same problems sort of come up in for me. The one that stands out for me still after a couple of years is the attack, man. I don't know what it is. It almost seems that it doesn't matter who he plays in the three. it just does not gel. Now I know people use the C word a lot, creativity, but listen, you saw the Aubameyang miss. That's nothing. What can you do with that? That's just, I mean, he hit the outside of the post. But yeah, the same problems. You know what I want to see Arsenal do, Scott, before I sort of finish up more so is I want us to be a little bit more brave on the ball in pressure situations. Now, when I mean that, I don't mean spraying the ball across the 6-yard box, across your 18-yard area. I'm talking about receiving the ball in tight areas and already being on the half turn and not having that extra touch. And these guys should know that they're professional footballers, but you know, whatever Arteta sets out in terms of tactics and coaching them and what actually happens on the pitch doesn't seem to marry up sometimes, even though the second half got better.
Yeah, no, look, and plenty of points, and you're right. Aubameyang missing from there was harder to miss than to score. I'm no footballing prodigy, but I'd have fancied myself to tuck that away just quietly. Dan, we might jump over to you. Albert mentioned creativity and the attack being a bit of a theme. What did you make of that? Were you happy with the performance, or do you think we needed to hit the next gear?
Yeah, I mean, first half was a bit slow. I thought Ramsdale made a heck of a save.
Yeah, great
save. I think we didn't really I think clicking into gears the right word. Like, I think in the first half, nothing got going. I said 2-0, like Albert. I thought it was going to be 2-0 all week. I've been saying that maybe we'd make a mistake here or there. It all depended on how we responded from Liverpool. But I thought it would be the opposite. I thought usually the first half we'll get the 2 goals or so, then we'll sit back in the second. We did the complete opposite this time. Second half, I think Arteta obviously said the right things at the right time in the changing room, because something really just switched. We didn't make any substitutions, but it just seemed like a transformed team when they come out. As soon as Saka got his goal, decent finish, we went for another. But yeah, what annoys me most is and is really frustrating for most of us, is the fact that we've seen they are capable of it. We just don't see the consistency. There's always a moment where you think that's fantastic football, but we just don't see it enough. Like the players are all good enough there. We're relying on probably the wrong players at the moment. Obviously, Albert touched on Aubameyang, and I thank heavens we've got people like Smith Rowe and Saka. That was his best performance this season to date. Yesterday, so if we didn't have them, we'd be in a real panic. And all these fans can moan. Like I saw Arteta out trending yesterday, which was madness.
I didn't see that. Jesus.
But I thought, we've just won a game, and people are still throwing their toys in the pram. And I agree. I agree completely with what Albert said on. I don't know what fans are expecting, and what you've said. It's we've got to really wake up and smell the coffee. We're still a building squad. But yeah, good performance all round. I'd probably give the second half the better of it. But after losing the way we did against Liverpool, I would have just taken a win yesterday. I was just quite happy to get the win and nip it under the bud.
3 points in the bank is a non-negotiable for me. But Melina, we've covered already when the guys have given their recaps. We've mentioned Aubameyang. I'd love your thoughts on that and a little bit about maybe that creativity. There's a really good comment in the live chat that I want to go to after this, but Melina, maybe just give us your general thoughts on the match yesterday.
Yeah, I also agree with Albert that in the first half, we really struggled to be ruthless when attacking, and we didn't even try to punish Newcastle in their half. We were playing well with width to deliver, but we had no sense of aerial threat whatsoever, and we struggled to really break a team like Newcastle, who are in the bottom half for a reason. We missed 2 to 3 chances in the first half that were big chances that could have easily put us a goal up in that first half. Aubameyang missing that sitter, he should have buried it, and it's clear as day that we really need to be shopping for a complete striker, a proper center forward who's experienced in the league already in January ASAP. But in terms of creativity, I felt like yesterday there was no fluidity between Odegaard, Saka, and Smith Rowe. In the second half, we improved as a unit and tried to work better cohesively. I agree, Ramsdale made brilliant saves to keep us still in the game, even when it was 0-0. Yet again, he's very good at shot stopping, and I'm eating my words still, as when before he had signed, I was reluctant on what is this keeper going to offer to Arsenal Football Club, and he's proved me wrong and silenced a lot of his haters. Great goal from Saka, but a lot of people don't give enough credit to the young lad Nuno Tavares. People were saying he should have been dropped because of his poor performance against Liverpool, but it's smart and intelligent from Arteta to keep him on for this game to build his confidence, even though he was poor on chances and shots, like taking shots that weren't even on target. He was still learning and developing his confidence on the pitch. And he ended up being like a workhorse in the second half, which was great to see. He defended really well just before that to deny Wilson of a shot in the second half. And I think overall we've done well. We deserved the 3 points. We clearly were the better half in the second half. We were the better team. But one thing I want to bring up is Gabriel Martinelli, an impact substitution with Bukayo Saka going off injured. Him coming on and less than a minute coming off the bench, getting that goal, upping the tempo of the game from a dead game, increasing the whole team's intensity and level of energy, enthusiasm he has. He was the spark we needed, and a brilliant goal by him with a great assist, ball through from Tomiyasu. Yet again, Tomiyasu, impressive performance from him, and hopefully upwards and onwards for them. And for Saka and Smith Rowe, I want to see a lot better, and hopefully upwards and onwards for them as well. It felt like Saka needed a rest. He's been playing constantly, week in and week out, and doesn't seem to catch a break. Thankfully, his injury isn't too serious, and Thursday at Old Trafford, I hope we do the job.
You mentioned a few players there, and we've got a conundrum at the moment, and these are nice problems to have. Tavares, to me, when we signed him, I don't think any of us, any Arsenal fan at the start of the season would have said, this guy's going to dislodge Kieran Tierney from the team. Because Arsenal fans universally, we've got love. One of the few things we can generally all agree on is that we love Kieran Tierney, and we see him as a leader and someone who has so much to offer. Now we've got this situation where Tavares has come in, and outside of that Liverpool performance, where I think he was probably guilty, and this might sound silly, of trying too hard, he's come in and he's been a key part of our good form. What do you see happening between Tavares and Tierney, Albert? Do you think we need to ease Tierney back in, or do you think, like everyone else, he needs to fight for his place in this team?
Scott, my brother, at last, Arsenal have good problems for once. Good problems. That's one of the biggest issues at Arsenal for a number of years. There wasn't more than one person competing in particular positions. That was the issue. I'm not going to mention right back because we could be all day, but that was the issue, man. And I think what people got to remember is you make a good point, Scott. I don't know anyone that doesn't love Kieran Tierney, but he hasn't had a good start to the season before the injury, by the way. So for those people that were sort of having a go at Nuno Tavares after last week, saying that we should have played Tierney, I thought that was very, very unfair, because I thought he deserved to start that game against Liverpool because he'd actually had a couple of good games before that. So I didn't have an issue with that. But obviously, he had a nightmare at the worst possible place in any game this season away at Anfield. But it happened. I'm not going to kill the guy for it. And it was a big, big call for Arteta to play him yesterday. And you know what? And people, I'm not saying this because after the event, because like I said, Newcastle are a poor side. I think they've been a poor side for a number of years, to be honest. But I thought Mikel Arteta, actually, to give him credit, big call, but the right call. Big call. But with Tavares, I was watching it. It's not even funny because his teammates were laughing at the time. But he reminds me of that kid that runs around the playground trying to beat everybody. I think he could. It's weird because normally with fullbacks, they were wingers but converted to fullbacks. I think with him, it could be the other way around. I think he could turn to a winger. Great energy, That's got to work on the shooting, definitely. But it might get us a few goals, trust me. But yeah, the decision making, that's the key thing. And it's not just him at Arsenal. There's a few players that need to work on the decision making. But listen, he had a good game yesterday. Just work on the decision making, and it'll be a top player.
Dan, I wanted to get your thoughts on this comment. Obviously, big ups to Jake in the live chat. He says, depth and quality throughout the squad will push better performances. If you look at Liverpool and City, no player can rest, and it's a fantastic headache for Arteta. Do you agree, or do you think maybe we need to look back at some of the experienced heads in the squad, like Kieran Tierney, to come into the squad? You're on mute, my man.
It's an interesting point. Sorry. I mean, I was talking about this the other day in terms of the fact Saka and Smith Rowe, like they're in a position where they instantly each week in, week out, they know they're getting in the team, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but people say competition is healthy, and I agree. I think it is good to know that there is someone that can perhaps step into your role if you're having a bad week or two. I'm not saying someone like Saka's been terrible this season. He hasn't by all means, but regardless of how he's playing, he knows he's gonna step into that starting 11 majority of the time. And yeah, like you look at City, you look at players like Phil Foden, one of the best players in City's team, but does he get in every week? No. Pep rotates, he's because he knows he's got the quality there. And I think it's a good problem to have for Arteta, definitely, in terms of the left back. And yesterday, I thought Sambi and Nuno both really showed like how to respond from defeat. It was the first time they've really had to like go experience that, shall we say, at that level. Like it was a really good performance from them too, especially considering what had happened. And yeah, they've played a lot more football than what we'd have expected from them this season. I think Nuno and Sambi both came in as like rotation players, promising players for the future. And due to the injuries of Tierney and Xhaka, it's not worked out that way. So they've probably played a lot more than I expected anyway. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's good to see like the sort of competition there. Nuno knows he's got to keep going. Katie is a good option if we come up with a lot of games in December. We've got 8-9 games. I'm guessing then we're going to have to use at least 3 of the 4, right back, left back choices that we got. So yeah, I'm a bit on the fence because I don't want to say, it's a bad thing that we've got too many good players in the same position. But I would like to see it elsewhere because we've only really got that problem on the left flank, which, don't get me wrong, important position, but I wish we had depth a little bit more out wide, and in the full. But yeah, Nuno's doing well. So at the moment, I'm not going to disagree with what Arteta's doing. Like, and the fact that he brought on Gabby over Pepe yesterday, I thought was very interesting as well. Because we've not seen Pepe play I can't actually generally remember the last time I saw the guy on. But the fact that he made that decision to bring Martinelli on and, it worked in his favour. So kudos to Arteta for some of the decision making yesterday. I think personally, a lot of the times he gets substitutions wrong and he seemed to sort of add his head in the right direction.
Yeah, look, plenty of good points made there. And you can see we've got some more people in the live chat. Mr. Arsenal podcast saying it was a big call to start Sambi and Nuno. Absolutely. As Albert said earlier, Arteta made some really good decisions, in my opinion, post Liverpool, because it would have been very easy. And I did a few other streams where, some Chelsea fans or United fans are bantering me saying that they melted down. What's going wrong here? Is it back to the drawing board? And I said in all of them, had we lost the previous 10 games before Liverpool, I probably would have been panicking and saying, yeah, we need to change it up. But we'd been in fine form before that game. And to me, the narrative of that game, not to go back to it, but it was just individual mistakes and inexperience. And once a little bit of water had got on the boat, it started sinking and everyone panicked. And I think that was the story of the Liverpool match. But just want to quickly acknowledge a few people in the live chat before we jump over to you, Melina. We've got My man Stephen from Canon Chatter TV. Freddie didn't die. He moved to Australia. This is going in a couple of days. I have to say, I've been called Freddie Mercury, Pablo Escobar, plenty of nice names, but I am fundraising for Movember, a charity that, looks at mental health, prostate, testicular cancer.
Good man.
I've hit $1,000, which was
wow! Congratulations, that's really
Thank
good.
you.
Well done. Brilliant, mate.
Yeah, so he hit that target yesterday, but the wife is absolutely delighted that the moustache will be leaving the face soon, because tell you what, I've had some interesting looks when my face mask has to come down. We've got Arsenal Presser in here saying it's a star-studded panel. Absolutely, it's a star-studded live chat too. So, it's always a pleasure. As I said to the people on the panel, 6:30 down under, so I know that our Aussie listeners are still enjoying their beds and their pillows at the moment. But Melina, let's come to you. We've talked about competition for places, talked about left back in particular. I know that earlier on when we were chatting pre-stream, you mentioned, similar to Dan, that you'd love some competition in other places. You've mentioned a forward. And for me, the centre of the park is somewhere where I still would like some more competition. Are there any players on your mind that you think could come in and improve this team realistically?
Especially in January, considering AFCON is right around the corner. To me, it's integral that we shop for another midfielder, preferably a Dusan Vlahovic or a Raheem Sterling for 40 million. Sounds like a no-brainer. Striker upfront options, we haven't been really linked with any in particular, but I would prefer Dominic Calvert-Lewin if we were to go out for a complete striker, someone who's already in the Premier League, who we should go after as soon as possible. Now, the only thing that comes to mind in my concern with healthy competition is, as soon as the January transfer window comes up, are we going to struggle to offload players like we did in the summer? We still have Lucas Torreira out on loan. We still have Hector Bellerin out on loan at Betis. It's clear as day that Pepe is right at the bottom of the pecking order. And to me, it feels like he's going to be sold in January. With all due respect, I've backed Pepe for a long time, but it just seems like the ball doesn't really stay to his feet. It feels like his biggest competition might be his 2 feet. It just doesn't seem like the league was suited for him. And we paid 72 million for that player, and I just haven't seen the benefits of him yet. And I don't feel like Arteta is going to be giving him much starting 11 minutes game time at all too. So preferably I would want at least one central midfielder or two if we're able to in January, and a complete striker as soon as possible.
Yeah, look, some good points. I don't think anyone could disagree with those. I want to kind of move on to the next point. I want to put these 2 points together. I wanted to speak about the fact that we're 13 games in and what we've learnt about our club at this point of the season. But I think it makes sense to tie that in with your expectations of the process. So what I might do, I'm happy to go first. I might just go around the panel just to maybe quickly let everyone know what were your expectations pre-season. Have your expectations changed, and what have you learnt about the process and the squad? For me, it's no secret. I was quite skeptical of Mikel Arteta taking the team this season. And my issue is not with him personally. My issue is not with his potential or his ceiling, because I think in terms of a ceiling, we will see in 10 years, wherever he may be, if he's still at the Arsenal, we will see a top manager. I've no doubt of his football intelligence, his tactical thinking, and that he's learned from Pep Guardiola. So I've no doubts. But I predicted in our preseason show a 5th or 6th place finish for the squad this season. And I was told that I was being overly optimistic. But to me, it was non-negotiable, because we've had 2 8th place finishes. We did improve the squad. The Cronkies are a terrible ownership group, but one criticism that can't be flung around is that they didn't back Mikel in the last transfer window. So I'm trying to put that bias to the side. They backed him. He identified players. And I have to say that all of the players they brought in, to me, have improved the squad. Erdegaard to me still has a long way to go. However, he hasn't been in the team much, so I'm not being over the top about his performance against Newcastle. I thought he was okay, but I feel like I say that about Erdegaard after many of his games. So he was okay. It's never. I'm not finding myself saying the opposite. But I think they've made good signings. I think the Cronkies backed him, which shows me that they believe in him and the process. And I do feel like Mikel Arteta has grown and evolved slightly over the season. My one criticism of him, my key criticism, is that I feel like it takes him too long to do things. We had those horrible matches at the beginning of the season, and then he brought Lacazette in, and I think Lacazette was the catalyst for our brilliant form. I wouldn't even call him a holding striker, but a striker who can hold up the ball better than Aubameyang is a must for his system. So I feel like bringing Lacazette in helped to kickstart our good form. And I feel like with Mikel, sometimes it just takes too long to make that decision. But while we're in good form, while we're improving, you've got to give him credit. His stocks have risen in my books this season, and I'm still going for a 5th or 6th place finished. I would love to sneak into the top 4, but I think that's a real big ask. We've got a little way to go before we get there. Albert, I know you and I sometimes think differently on our expectations of the squad, but you're one of the realists out there, man. You tell me what your expectations were and what you've learnt about the process.
Well, for me, I know people. The thing is, I wouldn't say too fussed about preseason, but for me, I said, look, the players will get their fitness up. We'll see what happens in terms of the players we brought in. Obviously, Ben White come in. We brought Gabriel the season before, Thomas Partey, and the rest of the other players that came in. I said that I will judge it more so on the first 2-3 months of the season, because that will set the sort of bar as to where Arsenal might possibly finish. My actual prediction was that if they continue from what I saw the back end of last season, when there were still things to play for, put it that way, and what I saw at the start of the season, Arsenal will be lucky to get top 8. And obviously you've seen in the first 2-3 months of the season where it's Arsenal were 10th and it was 8th and it was 7th and it's 5th and it's 4th. It's still a long way to go, mate. So I think the most detrimental thing that will probably hurt us is going to be our attack. For years, it's been the defense and arguably the midfield, but I don't know. Something's got to change pretty quickly, man, because for the amount of strikers we've got at the club, I don't understand. And yes, we can sit here and talk about tactics till the cows come home, which is a big element of it, because obviously Mikel Arteta sets up the team, but that's got to get sorted. Otherwise, Arsenal will probably finish maybe 8th or just above it. The thing is, because the way the season's gone so far in terms of the actual league itself, there's a strong possibility Arsenal could get top 6, top 4. Possibility. It's not impossible, but yeah, the attacks it's a huge issue for me. It still is a huge issue, even with the good form that we've sort of had over the last 2-3 months.
It's hard to argue with you, man. I know you always keep it real, and the striker conundrum is one we got to look at. Den, your expectations and what you've learnt about the process.
Yeah, I think I completely echo what Albert has said. I mean, obviously this season we've done well. Last season, I'm going to be honest, I was a very, very negative Arsenal fan coming in towards like the start of the season, the end of the transfer window. For me, I've been eating humble pie with Ramsdale, Odegaard. I wasn't singing any praises about his inclusion. I didn't think the acquisition would ever be successful. He's still got a lot of time to prove himself, don't get me wrong, but from what I saw of him on loan, I just didn't think it was the full package. I didn't think he was enough. Pepe, the juice hasn't been worth the squeeze. Aubameyang, we haven't seen the best of him. Obviously, we've been touching on. So for where we're at now, I'm completely amazed. considering we're not even getting the best out of our best players. People might think I'm being ridiculous, but we haven't our senior players. We aren't even getting the best out of. We've not got Xhaka, and yeah, don't get me wrong, he's an elephant in the dressing room. Most people think, but he's one of our strongest midfielders. So considering the squad we got on the field, I'm way above. It's gone way above my expectations, if I'm honest with you. And yeah, we're not even using, besides the defense, like Albert touched on, which we've improved on finally. We've spent hundreds of millions on the defense. We finally got it right. The midfield and the attack, there's no real difference in the team to what we saw last year. You know, like Odegaard's not being used, Pepe's not being in the starting lineup, and yeah, we've brought Lacazette back in, and he's been a bit of a saviour, like you mentioned. He's sort of added something different. We've been a transformed team since he come in. But yeah, I was predicting this season I would have taken 6th or 7th. I wouldn't say 8th. I'm just going to try and be a little bit positive, but I mean, I'd never have said that we'd be, you know, level 1 points with top 4 now, not considering like where we're at, and you've seen the stats on how many goals, etc., and attacking displays we've had this season. We're right low bottom, rock bottom almost. Thank God there's teams like Norwich in the league to sort of give us some justification. But yeah, I mean, we'll take it. Thursday is going to be a very, very big, interesting game. Liverpool was, but Thursday I'm even more nervous because they've not beaten us since 2008, and I'm sure we'll touch on it in a bit. But yeah, these are the games where we have to sort of turn up, and you know, people like Aubameyang, that's where I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, right, you know, come and do your worth. He scored at Old Trafford last season. Let's hope we see it again. But yeah, I'm impressed with what I've seen considering the lack of options we've got in the side.
I think about Aubameyang. I think about that meme where someone's got the stick and they're poking someone, saying, "Come on, do something." I feel like that's where we're at with Aubameyang. We might chat about him after this. Obviously, for those watching the replay who have woken up and tuned into this a little bit later, don't forget to like and subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to these amazing panelists as well. All their details are down in the bio, so check that out. Make sure you sub. It takes a lot of time and effort to put out some quality Arsenal content. And I know that all 4 of us work our backsides off to make that happen. Melina, 13 games in. What have you learned? What are your expectations? I think you're on mute. Oh.
Sorry, after the transfer window, when it ended, I thought, okay, we'd finish in the top 6. Back-to-back 8th place finishes wasn't good enough for me and wasn't cutting it. Like Den, I was skeptical on the manager, whether he would be able to work with the team that we have. And more importantly, being able to play players in their right position. Oftentimes, he would play Saka out of his position and we wouldn't get the best out of him. But this season, I've had to eat a lot of humble pie, especially with the Ramsdale signing. He's been great so far and kept us in games where we could have easily conceded and dropped points. But another thing I want to say is whether people like him or not, Granit Xhaka is an essential midfielder to our team. He brings leadership and strength into that midfield pivot with Partey. So the rest of the season for me really relies on Granit Xhaka coming back from injury, bouncing back, and Gabriel and Partey staying fit. Now, with them going to AFCON, I'm not sure if Ainsley Maitland-Niles will step up to that role or if Lokonga would be given that role. Or the other thing is we go out there and shop for an experienced midfielder. But right now, there's still a long way to go to the rest of the season. But I think we can finish in the top 5. I'm a lot more optimistic now, but to me, it's like Den was saying, our senior players have yet to show up this season so far. We're constantly having to rely on Saka and Smith Rowe to carry the team, whereas players like Partey, Aubameyang should be turning up for us and truly playing for the badge. But in some games, they're non-existent, and hopefully that changes and turns around.
Absolutely, well said. And I think, look, the common theme is that we all, an 8th place finish is not good enough. In any of our opinions at this point, we need to show some progress. And like I said, for all the criticisms of the Cronkies, and we could do a whole hour stream, probably more, criticizing the ownership group, but they have backed him. And the players that Arteta and Edu have brought in, to me, have all improved the squad. I use squad as the word there because I don't think someone like Erdegaard has revolutionised our starting team. But knowing that he's there if we get an injury, it's good because he's not a bad player. He's tidy, I would say. Now, I want to quickly look ahead. We're not going to worry about going back to November's fixtures because we've kind of talked about them in and out of the discussion. But December, the festive season. Now, I remember being an Arsenal fan for a long time. Usually around Christmas time, Arsenal over the years have not always given us a very festive feeling. We usually had that run towards the end of Wenger's tenure where Christmas, New Year was just a nightmare time. You'd want it to be over. We're kicking off December with a huge fixture. Away at Old Trafford, very hard place to go and win. We saw against Chelsea this morning that United, for all their troubles, are not easy beats. You cannot go to Manchester United arrogantly thinking that you've got this wrapped up and in the bag, no matter who you are, because with guys like Ronaldo in that squad, Greenwood, you're going to get punished if you go arrogantly. We won't go into a full preview, but maybe just some early thoughts on this match and how important is this to our December outlook and potentially our season. Albert, your thoughts on this game, my man?
When is looking at the sort of, I think they said the 6 fixtures at the time, so it would have been Leicester, Newcastle, these 2 games. I believe Southampton's after Everton because I'll be going to that game, so I'll be there definitely. Yeah, and then West Ham's going to be tough, but I'm not with score predictions. Scott, right? I usually to stick with them. I don't change my mind if I'm honest with you. And at the time, and I'll stick with it. I said we'll go United. Even though we went there and won last season, we've got a horrendous record there in the league. It's awful. And they do have they've had a tumultuous time and they've got a new manager and the interims coming in, but they've still got some very, very good players that can single-handedly win you a game on any given day. So people might think I'm being pessimistic, but I'm not. Like I said, I stick with what I originally said.
We've got to be real, man.
Yeah, when I looked
we
at
have
the
to be
fixtures,
real.
yeah, and I said we'd lose to United and get a draw at Everton. Obviously, I want to be proved wrong, Scott. Let's have it right. But it's a tasty game now. It always is anyway. But people might think it's lost its appeal over the years for obvious reasons. But it's going to be a very, very interesting game. And actually, like I said in the Liverpool game, even though the result turned out awfully, we can go to some of these away games now with a little bit more confidence. Yes, the City game was a bit early in the season and we don't do well there anyway, to be honest. But it's going to be an interesting game, man, to see how Arteta picks his brains against Ragnick when he comes in, probably. But yeah, looking forward to it, to be honest with you. Not petrified, looking forward to it.
Yeah, good thoughts. Den, you like Albert, or are we going to take 3 points from this one?
No. Yeah, I'm terrified of this game, if I'm completely honest with you. My family is all Man United supporters, so I said this morning that Chelsea and United was chalk and cheese for me. I couldn't hate either team more, and playing them is just a nail in the coffin. I think they're going to really come with some sort of confidence. They know they've got to do a job. Obviously, losing to us at home last year, they haven't beaten us since December 18, I think it was. And I was at that game, actually. I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Sanchez who even scored. So, they need to come back and come with a vengeance. I think they're going to do that. The fixtures we got coming up, I would happily take 7 points now. Everton away, don't get me wrong, they've been terrible.
They're on a horrible run.
Yeah, but we're the type of team, when a team's off the boil, they seem to like and come and play us. They seem to come play us and turn up. So, and then we've got Southampton and West Ham. I'm looking forward to the West Ham game, actually, like that. Just around Christmas time should be a good time to be up the Emirates. But yeah, Man United, dreading it. Sancho seems to have started, getting his wheels in motion. scored again today. So if I was going to say a result, I'd probably say 1-0, just being confident. But yeah, I think Ronaldo's going to be fresh and ready as well. You know, like he's just, I don't care what people say, he's a ticking time bomb when you
He
put him in any
loves
team.
playing us too.
Yeah.
He loves a match against the Arsenal.
It all depends. It all depends on hopefully we'll keep the squad similar. You know, don't fix what isn't broken. But if we play in the first half like we did yesterday against Man United, I'll tell you what, that second half is not going to be a good watch because we're not going to have the opportunity to click it into gear. The game would be over. But yeah, I'm trying to say I think we can do it. But United have the quality, and like Albert touched on, if they've got someone like Ragnick in and they've got that new manager Bounce. He, from what I know of him, the experience, he's going to know what to do with these players, sharpish. So yeah, we'll see. But it's nerve wracking.
So Albert's going with a narrow loss. We're hoping he's wrong.
Yeah,
Dan's going with 1-0. Melina, your thoughts? Give me some positivity here. Make me feel like we're taking all three.
Unfortunately, I also say it how it is. So, as like you guys on the panel, for me, Manchester United versus Arsenal is a bigger rivalry to me than Tottenham Hotspur, and most of my family are Manchester United fans. So, I'm looking forward to this game, but I'm not as confident as I should be. It just feels like, Jadon Sancho has finally got his shooting boots on and getting starting minutes as well. And Ronaldo, because he was benched today, I know for a fact that he will start up against us and he loves a game against us. For me, it's just a matter of our attacking. Are we able to finish the chances we have in our final third? And that's where we really struggle. We've been struggling with that all season. I don't want us to buckle and crumble under pressure when we concede, or if we're 1-0 up, I want us to maintain that lead. And sometimes that seems like a lot to ask for. I'm not too confident with this game. I'll take a draw over a defeat, but in the end, I hope we win with a Saka goal. So I'm also going just with a 1-0 away from home.
Yeah, look, is Saka going to be fit? Have we heard anything about the injury?
I'd be shocked if they started him. I mean, I get if he start, go for it. But he's been running out of it. He's been running his legs into tiredness as it is. So I personally wouldn't. I'm not saying Pepe or Martinelli are the answer. Obviously, I'd go Gabby over him. But we've got depth in that area. So, yeah, try and just think about the future. Obviously, like we mentioned with AFCON, that's really going to come up soon. And we've got Tottenham and Man City during that time. So for me, if Saka was to get injured in the next 2 weeks,
could be catastrophic.
It could be really,
Yeah.
Look, for me, really quickly, I know we spoke a bit about keeping the team consistent. The one change I want to see is Lacazette up front for Aubameyang.
Yes.
I think now we've hit the point where Aubameyang maybe needs that little bit of a spell coming off the bench. We know he's got pace. We know he can be dynamic. And we saw it under Emery. He did bench Aubameyang for a little while, and Aubameyang started hitting goals. So I want to see Lacazette start at Old Trafford. His work rate, his press, the way he can hold the ball up and bring others into play, I think it's a no-brainer. I want to keep the defensive line the same. I always believe that defense needs to be consistent. You don't mess around with your defenders because communication is integral at the back. And I think we're reaping the rewards of a consistent back four. Last season, you never knew. You couldn't predict who would be our starting defense. So I feel like
Rob Holding was having games for dinner, wasn't he? It was so easy for him to get on the team. But I was shocked to see Lacazette. I don't know about you guys, but I was shocked to see him dropped yesterday. Like I was looking at the team, and he would have been the last man standing for me because obviously I ate my words because Sambi had a good performance, but he was one yellow card away from suspension. So I thought, right, do the honourable thing and change. But yeah, sorry to butt in, but I didn't know if anyone else was shocked.
I was absolutely stunned because he has been a catalyst. To keep my thoughts really quick and succinct, can we win there? Absolutely. Do I think we'll win there? Not quite this time. I'm leaning towards I'm leaning to a 1-1 draw potentially, but I think it's going to come down to how we handle Ronaldo because if we don't handle him well and he builds up some momentum, it could get ugly. But I'm confident in Ben White and Gabriel. So
Tavares too. Sancho could cause Tavares some absolute
I
trouble.
I don't think it might definitely happen. I think there's a possibility Tierney could come back in.
I was
for
about
this.
to say
Yeah.
that because he was rested against Newcastle
He needs
yesterday.
to.
So
Nuno is not. I
he
love
needs
him.
to get match fitness too, and Tierney is
Yeah.
experienced.
I love Tavares in attacking attributes, but in defense, no. I'm not confident. Sancho, Rashford, whoever plays there, it's going to be a very, very long evening. In fact,
Yeah.
So, guys, before we wrap it up, and again, I'm really grateful to you all for joining me. We had the morning rep. You can probably see the sun starting to come through that window behind me, which is quite nice. We've had you guys up later, Melina joining us in the middle of the day. I want to kind of end by just telling you what fixtures we've got in December, how many points are available, and just giving us your off-the-cuff prediction on how many points you think we'll secure. We've got United, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Leeds, Norwich, and Wolves. I'll put them in the private chat for your memories like mine, and you'll forget that. 21 points available in December. Got 21 points available this month. Well, not this month, but almost this month. For me, I think we won't get the points against United. I'm going to go with 3, 6, 9, 12. Look, I'd like a minimum of 15 points to me. I'm nervous about Wolves because they've been tricky to break down. There's some tough matches. West Ham are in phenomenal form. 15 points, and I'm okay with that. Albert, what about you, man? How many points?
Cool. I think you're being. I'm looking at them fixtures. I'd say. I think the Wolves games is at home. I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. I think 12 or I'm going to say 12 actually.
Happy with 12, or you predict?
No, I'm not happy with 12, but I'm predicting 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dan?
yeah, I'm going to agree with Albert. I think 15 is a very, very positive thought.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it'd be good.
Yeah,
but...
I think from the games, I'm probably going to guess the games that people wouldn't think we would. But I have a bad feeling we're going to drop points at Everton. Goodison Park on a Monday night just doesn't scream amazing to me, and I don't think it will the players either. I've got a bad feeling about that game, and I mean, I think Benitez will still be there, but if he is there, he'll know that he needs to show some sort of fight to keep the job he's got left. So I think we'll probably get a draw at Everton, and I think West Ham, we're going to be very lucky to get a game against
Everton have been terrible, though.
It's like I said, though, we're the sort of team that when you're playing badly, you just seem to come and, completely transform against. I'm going to say 14. I think we'll beat the inevitable Southampton, Leeds, Norwich. I've got a feeling we'll do Wolves as well. But I'm not confident against Everton or West Ham, not whatsoever. And yeah, United, I'm going to preach for the choir. I think we're going to be perhaps embarrassed at Old Trafford. Hopefully the snow conditions wear off, because that could cause an even more bigger problems. Add fuel to fire.
Melina, 21 points.
I'm going to go for 12 as well. I'm not confident for the United game, and I feel like we're going to drop points significantly to West Ham. West Ham under David Moyes this season, they've been an incredible team. Said Ben Rama has been doing phenomenal for them, and Bowen as well. So I don't think we stand a chance against West Ham. And United, I don't see us winning that, unfortunately.
Okay, well, geez, this is good, though. This is good for me, because it's not often I'm seen as the eternal optimist. But look, this panel is a very realistic panel. There's no one here who I would say is, delusional or...
It's not negative. This is one thing I hate on Twitter, right? People say you're negative. It's not negativity. It's just it's being absolutely realistic. Yeah. And for me, 4 wins out of those games, I'm comfortable with. I'm not happy with, but considering Wolves, what they've got in them, and Everton, they're really hit and miss. 12 points is terrible, really, when you look at it, but it
But I
wouldn't
think
surprise me. It wouldn't surprise
the
me.
fixtures do pile up in December. It always
Mm.
piles up. Your squad depth is tested.
We're
And
we're gonna be shattered. We've got City and Tottenham after those games.
we won't be the only team that drop points in December.
That's the key. That's the key
Yeah.
thing. That's the key
Mm.
thing. The other teams will be playing games and they'll be dropping points. So the 12, if people might think, oh god, 12 out of 21 is not really great. I mean, I was and ahhing with the Wolves game. Really, that was the game I thought win there 14 out of 21. But yeah, Wolves, we've had that's pretty some problems with Wolves since they come back into the Premier League. Actually,
Mm.
hard to you got them
The
playing well.
manager's doing good things
Yeah,
over
he's doing a
there.
good
Bruno
job.
Lage,
Doing a
or
good
whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Mm.
did a very good job.
Yeah, no, look, guys, I am going to let you go. I know, Albert, do you have another stream coming up?
Yes, I will be on Lead Judges TV at 9 p.m. tonight. So yeah, looking forward to it.
No sleep, man. No
No,
rest for you.
I'm with Potsy and Soccer Diva, so it should be fun.
Should be a cracker. If I can
Yeah.
get a chance
Tune
at
in,
work, I'll
people.
tune in.
Tune in.
Hey, it must be nice for you guys getting to watch the football and then go on with your evenings. I'm about to go and get ready for work. I've got to go and teach a class of 28 kids.
Oh,
stop,
wow.
man.
That's going to be delightful. Dan, you got anything coming up in the next couple of days?
Yeah, to be honest, I never know when I'm going to do something because it all depends on, like me. Me and Albert are meant to have collabed on my channel countless times, but yeah, hopefully going to get something in obviously before Thursday. Thursday's usually the day I do something, but obviously given the game, but yeah, there'll be a preview for the United game, and when we win, I'm always talking about the win, so there'll be a little bit of a match reaction from Newcastle yesterday. But yeah, that'll be out this week. Cheers for having me on, mate, and good to see Albert and Mel as always.
Yeah, of course, man.
Good to see you, Dan.
It's a pleasure. Melina, anything coming up for you?
Just a Man United preview and FPL review for game week 13. But thank you for having me on, Scott.
No, guys, it's an absolute pleasure. I thank you for coming on. We'll have another Arsenal show in December, so new panel, hopefully. We'll mix it up. It's always good getting amazing Arsenal fans here. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Make sure you check out these guys' channels as well. They're all doing a madness in their own way. At the moment, I appreciate you all. Much love.
Cheers,
Thank you
brother.
for joining us, and
Thank
come
you.
on, you Gunners.
Yes.